Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we're going to continue our study on the seven master spirits, and we're on section 3, identity and diversity of the master spirits. And I was telling my group here before we started that I've listened to this from 2014, is it, dear? I think. Again today, and it's got so much wonderful stuff in the last 4 sections. It's just, I almost can't wait to get to it. So make sure you, if you have time, listen to the old one and tune in for our new one, because we're going to break it down even further. So let's say a little prayer and we'll get started. Father, thank you for bringing us all together today that we might study your wonderful revelation. We feel so blessed for this information and this revelation that we might enhance our lives and share it with others and know what's to come in the future lives of the mansion worlds. We thank you for the opportunity to share this with one another and to share this for all of with our family and those we meet, that they might be enlightened also and ease their way along this hard road of this world. We thank you and we give you the praise in your son, Michael Jesus of Nazareth. Amen.
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 Oh, okay. Oh, yes, I was going to show y'all. This is paper 119, the bestowals of Christ. The reason I'm bringing this up is I don't know when the last time we did this. It wasn't too long ago, but you'll notice here at the beginning of it that there is a synopsis, okay, that I stuck in here. All right. And it says here it's not part of the original book, but it's in our version of the book, this version of the book. And the reason I'm bringing this up is in the body of this paper, and we have lots of illustrations, in the body of this paper are these 7 things. All right. And we're going to go over each of these 7 things as we get to them tonight, because Michael, in his 7 bestowals, portrayed one of the master spirits, or the combination of the master spirit in each one of his bestowals. And I said this the other night probably, but this is what he did on each of the bestowals. For instance, the number 1, the Melchizedek son, his first bestowal, during which he displayed the matchless wisdom and superb devotion to duty. On his Melchizedek bestowal, he manifested the united will of whom? The Father, the Son, and the Spirit.
Our master spirit, number 7.
Number 7, right? Our 7th super universe. And we're going to hit on each one of these as we go through them tonight. So let's start up here with master spirit number 1. Start on the very first paragraph and then we'll go down. And tonight we're going to do something different through the 7 master spirits, because this only makes sense if you take this 2 paragraphs at a time. Okay. And this came about, Millie probably doesn't remember, but she suggested we do it this way back in 2014. Okay.
Wow.
And that's why we're going to do it this way again tonight. So with each master spirit, there are 2 paragraphs that describes the master spirit. And we're going to, when we read tonight, we're going to take both paragraphs, okay, so that we get the full picture of the master spirit. So let's take the first paragraph though, first singly. And Jane, if you would you take the very first one? Here, the master spirit, the 7 master spirits.
The 7 master spirits are indiscernible beings, but they are, indescribable beings,
Right.
but they are distinctly and definitely personal. They have names, but we elect to introduce them by number as primary personalizations of the infinite spirit. They are akin, but as primary expressions of the 7 possible associations of triune deity. They are essentially diverse in nature, and this diversity of nature determines their differential of super universe conduct. These 7 master spirits may be described as follows.
Okay, and we'll go through those in a minute. But let me break down this first paragraph just a little bit. First of all, they are distinctly and definitely personal. They're a personality, each one of them. And being a personality, they each have a different personality, okay? Which is very important. They're not like carbon copies of one another in any shape, form, or fashion, all right? But they go again, they tell us again here, they are the primary expressions of the 7 possible associations of the triune deity. What are they talking about here? Well, let's go over here to the bestowals of Christ. And there's a chart that I put together back, gosh, 2014, I guess it was. And it shows this fairly well, okay? And this is the chart. It has God the Father, the eternal Son, and the infinite Spirit. And this chart shows every possible combination of these 3 beings, okay? First as God the Father, and then second as God the Son, then third, God the Spirit, right? And then the combination of both the Father and the Son, and the combination of the Father and the Spirit, and the combination of the Son and the Spirit, right? And lastly, but not leastly, Father, Son, and Spirit. So this shows, these lines show the cross connections of each one of these for all these combinations.
So, hey,
Okay.
Roger, when you mentioned the triune deity, it's in reference to the Father, Son, and Spirit, but can it
Right.
also be in reference to the oneness of the Paradise Trinity?
You could say that, yeah. You could
Because
say
they
that
are
too.
one
They are
in
one.
function and will, yes.
Yeah, they are. Okay, so let's go back to the 7 master spirits. Let's start with number 1 here. Diane, would you take the first one, please, dear?
Okay. Master Spirit number 1. In a special manner, this spirit is the direct representation of the Paradise Father. He is a peculiar and efficient manifestation of the power, love, and wisdom of the Universal Father. He is a close associate and supernal advisor of the Chief of Mystery Monitors, that being who presides over the College of Personalized Adjusters on Divinington. In all associations of the 7 master spirits, it is always Master Spirit number 1 who speaks for the Universal Father. This spirit presides over the first super universe, and while unfailingly exhibiting the divine nature of a primary personalization of the infinite spirit, seems more especially to resemble the Universal Father in character. He is always in personal liaison with the 7 reflective spirits at the headquarters of the first super universe.
Okay, I got a question.
Yes, go right ahead, Gary.
He's in charge of the first super universe. I
The
thought one of the sons was.
No, this
One of
is, yeah, he's in charge, this, one of the 7 master spirits is, right? And he is master spirit number 1. So he is in charge of the first super universe.
Well, what
Okay.
about the like Jesus?
Okay,
I thought each one had a Jesus body.
they do.
David.
Well, they all have paradise sons. Actually, each one of the 7 super universes has 100,000 sons or Jesuses, right?
Creator sons.
Creator sons, right? So there's 100,000 for each super universe. So there's 700,000 creator sons in the 7 super universes, right? So that
there's
means
700,000 Jesus figures.
yes, in the 7 super universes, right? There's also another 300,000 in reserve, which we don't know what they're for yet, unless they're for the outer space levels to come.
I
right?
thought Jesus was in charge of the universe.
No, he's in charge of the local universe of Nebadon, right? So there's 100,000 local universes in each of the 7 super universes.
Holy mackerel.
So there's 700,000 local universes in the 7 super universes. Okay.
Each one
Yeah,
is like a
that's a
little,
lot of people, a lot of universes. When you
That's a
start
lot of
multiplying out,
universes.
that's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's it's so many. Really, Gary, it's so many beings. We don't humanly conceive of numbers of that scale, to be honest, right? We can say the numbers, but we don't have a associated concept of how many that would be, really, in our
It's true.
minds. You know, we really can't. Because if you take that and you figure there's 10 million universes in each one of that, what does that come out to? I mean, 10 million inhabited planets in each one of those. That comes out to 7 billion inhabited, or is it 7 trillion inhabited planets? It's one of the two. It's a lot of planets. Multiply on that billions and billions of individual humanoid beings on each one of those, and the number is unconceivable to us. You know,
Inhabited planets is 7 trillion.
7 trillion inhabited
7
planets.
trillion.
Thank you, Melly.
Look on page 167, it's in paper 15.
Okay,
I keep a
the
marker there.
breakdown. Yeah, the
Yeah.
breakdown. Yeah, thank you, Millie. Next time we need it, we'll hit you up on that.
I keep a marker there in my book because I'm always referring back to it, because these are numbers you can't comprehend, and you keep going back and
No.
saying, is it really this? Is it really that?
Yeah. Now
it's not. It's not.
it's
easy to
really
comprehend.
interesting on the bestowals of Michael here. The first thing they talk about right here at the this is the synopsis of it. Michael of Nebadon is the local universe sovereign, is the 611,121st of his order to achieve approval of the Ancient of Days for his local universe sovereignty. So if there's 700,000 local universes, he was in line, and it was 611,121 before he got his, right? Okay. Now, guess what the number of the local universe mother spirit is? 611,121.
the same number. And why is that?
Because they were created simultaneously.
Hmm.
Okay.
And they work together.
And they work together. Now, want to hear another interesting fact? Guess what the number of the union of days is? 611,121st. The union of days, Michael calls his elder brother, right? Emmanuel. So if he's his elder brother, he must have been created before Michael was, right? But they were created in order, the order being Emmanuel first, Michael second, the local universe mother spirit, what? Third, right?
So Roger,
Yes.
maybe 1 nanosecond before.
Exactly.
It may have been. It may have been. He just calls him his elder brother. Okay, let's get back to master spirit number 1. Okay, so number 1 is his particular manifestation is an example of the power, love, and wisdom of the universal Father. Okay, so his first super universe, what kind of characteristics will the people that come from the first universe have?
Love.
Power, love, and wisdom. That's right. That will be their characteristics. Just like our characteristics will be something different. Okay. So it goes on in the second paragraph, and it goes on in each one of these second paragraphs, that each of these master spirits have reflective spirits underneath them in their headquarters, right? So this slide demonstrates this, okay? There are 7 supreme spirit groups, or the universal coordinating directors of the 7 segmented administrations of the grand universe, the 7 super universes. Although all these classed among the functional family of the infinite spirit, the following 3 groups are usually classified as children of the paradise trinity, not just that master spirit, but children of the Paradise Trinity. The seven master spirits, the seven supreme executives, and the reflective spirits are all classified as children of whom? The Paradise Trinity, right? Now, each one of these seven super universes has each one has a master spirit. Each one has a supreme executive. And we talked about this last time, how this is the being that takes over when the master spirits go away in conclave, right? And underneath them are the reflective, 49 reflective spirits, right? And each one of the headquarters worlds has 7 reflective spirits. And guess who they are under? Majeston,
Mm-hmm.
right? All right. And we know Majeston is under the supreme being of Havona, right? And we also know that what? The 7th master spirit is the representation of the supreme being in our current age. Okay, so the supreme being, even though he's not in full fruition yet, he has representation in the 7th master spirit, which is our master spirit, right?
Which is the God of all, which is the God of finite experience,
The
supreme.
God of finite
So if God was
experience.
immortal, it would be more of a gathering of experiences.
That's right. Now, remember that the supreme being, or the 7th master spirit, gathers experience from all 7 of the super universes. Okay, not just our super universe. So he's got a lot of jobs and responsibilities, doesn't he? Okay, let's go on to master spirit number 2. Rodney, would you take master spirit number 2 and do both paragraphs, please?
Yes. Master Spirit number 2. The spirit adequately portrays the matchless nature and charming character of the eternal Son, the firstborn of all creation. He is always in close association with all orders of the sons of God, whenever they may happen to be in the residential universe as individuals or in joyous conclave. In all the assemblies of the 7 master spirits, he always speaks for and in behalf of the eternal Son. The Spirit directs the destinies of super universe number 2 and rules this vast domain much as would the eternal Son. He is always in liaison with the 7 reflective spirits situated at the capital of the 2nd super universe.
Now, since we talked about the character of God the Father, all right, being like love and wisdom, what would be the character of the eternal Son? Think about this.
Mercy,
Mercy.
ministry.
That's exactly right. Mercy. That's the main character of the eternal Son. So beings coming from Master Universe number 2, what do you think their major characteristic is? Mercy. That's right. That's right. All right, let's go on down and look at this picture. It says master spirit. The 7 master spirits are the supreme ultimate representatives of the infinite spirit. They maintain their personal stations. You see that? Personal stations. Their power focuses on the periphery of paradise. That's this right here. Not on these not on these planets, okay? On the periphery of paradise. But all operations concerned with the management and direction of the grand universe are conducted on and from the 7 special executive spheres of the infinite spirit. Those are the 7 planets of the infinite spirit, okay? And that's why this picture is in here. So they have their power focus on paradise, but they do all their work from what? The planets, right? The 7 planets. Okay. Master Spirit number 3. Let's see who's up reading next. That's me, and I'm going to skip reading since I talk all the time anyway. Y'all get tired of hearing of me. Gary, would you take the next one, please?
Okay. Master Spirit number 3. This spirit personality especially resembles the infinite spirit, and he directs the motions and work of many of the high personalities of the infinite spirit. He presides over their assemblies and is closely associated with all personalities who take exclusive origin in the third source and center. When the 7 master spirits are in council, it is Master Spirit number 3 who always speaks for the infinite spirit. This spirit is in charge of super universe number 3, and he administers the affairs of this segment much as would the infinite spirit. He is always in liaison with the reflective spirits at the headquarters of the 3rd super universe.
Now, what type of characteristic do you think the Master Spirit number 3 would have? Think of the infinite spirit. What is most obvious?
Is it action?
Evangelist?
Action?
Action
Yeah.
would be one of them, but how about service?
Hmm?
Okay, service.
Oh, I
Because,
was thinking evangelism.
well,
Well, I know that the Father and the Son, when they want to act, when they need something to act through and in, they
They
use the
always
conjoint
act.
actor.
They
The
act.
conjoint actor.
they'll always act through them, but their personality trait that he would radiate
Mhm.
would be service, would it not? Because all the service personnel of all the universes come from the infinite spirit. And what is their main goal? Service, right?
Service.
Service. All the angelic core, all of those underneath them, they're all service-oriented beings, are they not? They comfort you, right? Now, so what do you think the people that come from super universe number 3 would be like? They would be service-oriented, would they not? Yes, they would be
Service
serving
related.
each other, service related. They would be always willing to help you along, would they not? Okay, so that's the characteristic that they would protrude when they get to Havana. Makes sense?
So, hey,
Go ahead,
Roger,
Jane. Jane, go ahead.
Would they be mortals or would they be not mortals then?
No, they would be mortals.
They
would
are
be
mortals.
Yeah, they're mortals. Tim, yeah, what would you going to ask?
well, there's 2 things I was going to say. So if I were to classify a seraphim, can you say an absonite being? Or is it's not so much a finite being, but
No, it's
right,
not an absonite being.
like Lucifer being a primary Leonardic, how would you classify that as an absonite being? What exact? I think an
No,
absonite being is more like the master physical controllers, they said, but I'm trying to
Yeah.
classify like the
The-
7 master spirits. Would that be an absonite? They're way up there. I mean,
No,
they're
the
extremely
7 master spirits would be deity. Okay.
okay, right.
They're
That's
classified
really
as
up there.
deity,
Mhm.
right? The Leonardic sons are classified as just under, or they could be classified as Urantia type beings because they're in between finite and spiritual. Okay, they're not fully spiritual. You really could consider them spiritual beings also, but they're more on the Urantia scale because they're the service beings that are between the finite world and the spiritual world.
The material
Okay?
and the physical.
The
Like
material
Urantia.
or the physical. And then the rest of the universe, if you think about it, and it states this in this paper at one point, that most of the universe is Urantia.
Mhm.
Okay. There's Urantia beings, there's Urantia planets, there's Urantia this, Urantia that. All of these types of places are in between finite and spiritual. So till you get up and start to leave the local universe. Now, this is very important that you understand this. Until you leave the local universe, every planet, everything you go to, everything you do are Morantia planets, Morantia materials, and Morantia beings.
Mhm.
Okay.
That would be the start of the ascension career.
That's the start of the ascension career. So what do you think the sons of Jesus, which are the Lemonondex, the Melchizedeks,
Mhm.
the all of the whole course of sons, even down to the life carriers, what types of beings do you think they are?
Can you call them celestial beings? And what does that word mean,
They're
celestial?
celestial, but they're more Morantia than they are celestial. You think about it.
So by
Because
definition, you
their
have to say,
service is in the Morantia associated reality.
Okay.
Okay.
but they seem to have more intelligence than a finite human being. They have to be
Of course
more.
they do. Of course they do.
So that's the definition I'm in search for. Like,
Yeah,
you
they're a
just can't say
higher-
an angel is a finite, like maybe in
No.
terms of material
No, angels are not really, angels
or more
really
spirit. You're right.
are more spirit than they are
Mhm.
anything else.
Right.
But even the angels, the seraphim, they're more on the scale of Morantia. Why? Because the seraphim have service in the local universes. Okay, so having service in the local universes, they're going to be more like Morantia than they are spiritual, because they can relate easier in the Morantia form. You follow me?
Yes.
Now they may be at root spiritual beings, but they have to manifest themselves as Morantia beings. Now,
Mhm.
think about it this way. When Jesus talks about the angels, he always says that humans are just a little below the angels, doesn't he?
Mhm. Yes, he does.
Think about how many times he said that. Many, many, many times. Okay, so if the humans are just below the angels, what's the next step for humans?
Morantia.
Angels.
Morantia. That's right. So who do you think the angels are most like in the local universes? Morantia.
People.
Right. Now, another interesting fact is the fact that the midwayers are in between
Mhm.
finite and Morantia, right? They're in between. That's why they call them midwayers. They're midway between physical and Morantia,
Between angel and man.
between angel and man.
An academic son. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Jane.
I think Tim might have just answered my questions, because I know very little about the midwayers, because
Yes.
we never touched on that yet, and
Yeah.
I haven't done that. But how were they created?
They are created by the first ones were created by the Caligastia 100. Okay. And they were created by physical beings, because the Caligastia 100 were given physical bodies, right? But those physical bodies were inserted in the local universe mother spirit circuit. Okay. So when they reproduced a being that was not quite finite, not quite Morantia. Okay. So they were in between, and that's why they were called midwayers. They were invisible to human beings, but they were visible to the Morantia and angelic core. Okay. So as they grew up, or as they came along and were trained, they were trained by their parents, the Caligastia 100, right? They did not have what? They did not have father fragments. They did not have thought adjusters.
When you say
Okay.
that the physical bodies were being constructed, did they take anything out of the primitive man to construct that, the DNA?
That's
A celestial surgery, right?
Yeah, the Caligastia 100 were created from the DNA of the existing nomadic tribes on the planet.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
out of the DNA. Yeah, Jane,
Just one more question.
go
Are
ahead.
they still multiplying? And
No,
no.
no,
Are
they're
they
not.
still-
They could not reproduce. They could. The beings that created them were limited on how many they could make. each
Okay.
pair, okay? And that was some 50,000 of them, okay? 40,000 of them went into rebellion with Caligastia. So that
Mhm.
left a little less than 10,000 actually that remained faithful. Now, after the spirit of truth was poured out on the planet, they were all taken away that had not been faithful, and they're no longer on the planet. They say in the book they were taken away in chains. Okay, that was the judgment. They were taken to the Father's prison worlds, and they will be judged just like everyone else that rebelled during the rebellion. Okay, now that's the first group of midwayers, Jane. The second group of midwayers came from the children of Adam and Eve. Okay, and there was just a little over 2,000 of those. Okay, and I think, don't quote me on this number, I think it was like 800 of them remained faithful, and the rest were removed with the other midwayers. Okay, now, important point, since we got off track here, important point is this: what we considered demons during the time of Jesus that could possess people and that sort of thing, that was rebel midwayers. Okay, why this is important: all the rebel midwayers were removed from the planet at Pentecost. Okay, every single one of them. All right, so that left the loyal midwayers, the 10,000 or a little bit less than 10,000 of the original primary midwayers, and the 800 and something or however many there was of the secondary midwayers, and they joined together in a group and became the United Midwayers of Urantia. Okay, why this is important: it was the United Midwayers of Urantia that petitioned Michael to reveal the Urantia book. Okay, see the importance of that?
And do you realize, here's a theory of mine, that there's so much evidence supporting ghost sightings and things moving that people have captured. But my theory is that it's a secondary midwayer because this is their planet. And remember that the midwayers who went into rebellion, right? They could be imitators of the dead.
Yes, they
So,
could. They could look like ghosts. Well, the
right.
secondary
But the
midwayers-
point is that it's not just the rebellious, it's the secondary midwayers. Every midwayer is capable of doing just that, to imitate the dead, shifting into somebody you may have known. And there's a lot of scary kind of evidences.
It's only the secondary midwayers that can make themselves viewable by humans.
Correct.
Okay? So the primary midwayers were too high up to be able to do that.
Right.
Okay, but the secondary midwayers could actually make themselves seen, and that's where all these legends of devils and demons and all this thing came from.
Right.
Because
so
they would run around scaring these nomadic tribes half to death because they'd appear out of nowhere.
But we're also taught that there's no such thing as ghost, as your family member dying and coming back down here. But the evidence suggests when you have a college student who moves into a home that's being sponsored, and he draws a picture of this woman who apparently died there, hundreds of years, ago, and they have this, old picture frame that says, "Hey, this is what happened. This woman died," and he drawed her out. It could be a midwayer.
Could be.
It could be things knocking off the shelves. Right. Because this is the secondary midwayer. This is their home.
Something like that.
This is their home. This isn't our home, guys. The secondary midwayers, Earth is their home.
Yeah.
So it's just a theory I wanted to run by.
They're stuck here until the planet reaches light and life. Okay, let's get back on the subject here. Okay.
Can I ask one
Thank you very
question?
much.
Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
I have a stupid question.
No, there's no such thing as a stupid question. There is
This
such thing as a
term,
stupid answer from a guy that doesn't know everything.
Gary,
You
the
know?
only stupidest question you can ask is the one you didn't ask.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's one. Okay, I have a problem with the term Urantia.
Right.
I always thought it was kind of like the next world over.
Uh-huh.
And I did a lookup in the urantiabook.org. And the definition says the phase of universe reality intervening and bridging the gulf between the material and spiritual realms of the universe.
That's
So
exactly
that
right.
tells me like, here's Earth, here's the spiritual world, and Urantia is like the bridge between.
Right. It
Am
is the
I
bridge between.
seeing this right? Or
Yeah.
is
Yeah, it
Urantia the next
is.
world?
No, it is, Gary, because even on this world, what we don't realize, there are Morantia structures on this planet. Okay. There are Morantia beings on this planet. They're all over the place. The structures are all over the place. They're just outside our sight range. So since we cannot see them, we don't make the connection that they are more real than our finite planet. Okay. So think of it this way. We occupy a planet that is mostly finite, but it is just as equally has Morantia characteristics because it's got Morantia being student visitors. It's got Morantia buildings, places that the student visitors can stay. It's got the Morantia facilities of all the administration of the planet. Okay. They talk about a spiritual pole on the planet. On the spiritual pole on the planet is an archangel relay station. So there's got to be a structure from that. And guess what that's probably made out of? Morantia materials.
Yeah, Gary,
Right.
you can also view the Morantia, the physical and the spiritual, as the universal father being spirit, but yet he created a machine to do his bidding, which would be a physical mechanism. And that's the eternal isle of paradise. That's the physical in space part in space that the father created this machine.
Okay, so Morantia is Earth in another plane,
Right.
dimension or whatever,
Another dimension. Right. That's right.
and the next world.
In the next world and the next world. That's right. Now,
And
when
so
we
that
get to
includes the bridge, huh?
that's the bridge. And when we get to the first mansion world, with each mansion world, there are finite things on the mansion worlds, Gary, just like there are on this planet. Okay. The difference is this. When we get to the mansion worlds, we will have Morantia vision. Okay. So we'll be able to see everything that's Morantia and experience that, but we'll also be able to experience all the finite thing on these planets also, because some of the things on the planets, the mansion worlds, are not Morantia. They are physical things, and that may include what? That may include some of the animals. That may be include some of the things like water or sites or art or just hundreds and hundreds of things. Right? So it's a mixture also of the finite and the Morantia, but it's mostly Morantia. Okay.
So
And
you're saying,
because we have qualified as finite beings and lived as a finite being, we will be able to see those things also. Okay.
so the mansion world is actually the next
Step.
world,
Right.
right? Huh?
That's it. That's right.
Okay, so now I'm getting a better picture. Earth with a third Morantia sphere plus the bridge.
Yeah.
And then we go into the mansion world in which we have finite and Morantia visions.
Right, right. That's true. Now, on the when you hit the mansion worlds and go onward, those are all architectural spheres. They're perfect. Okay, so there's not only Morantia beings on those, but there will be spiritual beings on those also, right? Even though it's the in-between stage, there will be spiritual beings on there. And the higher we learn and go and develop our spiritual eyesight, we will be able to see more and more of the spiritual beings that's there too, right?
I'm glad he didn't ask you what Monota was, Roger. And then Mota.
You know, if y'all don't let me, we will never get past this third master.
We won't, man.
spirit.
It just keeps going on in infinity.
I know.
There's Monota, Mota, all this Morantia term
Yeah.
and definition. Yeah, it's funny.
Yes, we'll
We'll
learn
get
about
to
those
it
later.
one day.
Yes, we will. We'll get to it. Okay, let's see. Who's up reading? Gary, I think you're up reading next. Master Spirit number 3.
He just read,
He just read that?
I think.
Did we already read?
I did read the 4, but I'll read
We
it again.
did.
It's not a-
We read number 3 because I talked about what
Yeah.
the infinite spirit was on that. See, y'all got me so far off base. forgot who I was and where I was. Who am I anyway? Okay, so next, let me look and see who's next. Millie, you're up for Master Spirit number 4.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay, Master Spirit number 4. Partaking of the combined natures of the Father and the Son, this Master Spirit is the determining influence regarding Father-Son policies and procedures in the councils of the 7 Master Spirits. This spirit is the chief director and advisor of those ascendant beings who have attained the infinite spirit and thus have become candidates for seeing the Son and the Father. He fosters the enormous group of personalities taking origin in the Father and the Son. When it becomes necessary to represent the Father and the Son in the association of these 7 Master Spirits, it's always Master Spirit number 4 who speaks.
Take the next one too, Millie.
This spirit, the 4th segment of the grand universe, in accordance with his peculiar association of the attributes of the universal Father and the eternal Son. He is always in personal liaison with the reflective spirits of the headquarters of the 4th super universe.
Okay, so what kind of characteristics do you think that Master Spirit number 4 would have? He would have the 3 combination of the Father, including the love and wisdom, and it also have the mercy of the Son, right? Okay, and if we go back to our list before, okay, let me find the right one for each one here. Number 2 here, it says, as a Lananek son serving as a temporary replacement for a rebel system sovereign in constellation 37, that's where I got that 37 the other night. On his Lananek bestowal, he manifests the world of the Father and the Son. So in his second bestowal, Jesus revealed the characteristics of Master Spirit number 4, right? Okay.
So, Roger, are you pointing out here that this pattern then continues in our local universe?
It does. That's the whole point of this, Jane. You hit it right on the head.
I just fell in.
Yeah, it just dinged on you, right?
Yeah.
So each of these bestowals of Michael revealed the characteristics of one of the 7 Master Spirits. That's what's so important here. Okay.
Okay, now the Lena Index,
Lenonondex sons. Yeah,
okay,
right.
they are entities from my limited understanding.
They are what? Say that again, Gary. You
And
broke up.
entities, spirits, or
Yes, right.
individuals. And so what do they do when the world needs, when the universe needs advice from the Father and the Son? They go down there and help? Are they?
No,
What is
no,
Planetary princes, Roger.
no, they're planetary princes and system sovereigns. Okay. The system sovereigns were created by Michael and the local universe mother spirit. The Lanonondex, the whole group of those sons with the Melchizedeks and the Verandadex, all 3 were created by Michael and the local universe mother spirit. So these are local sons of God, but they're still considered descending sons of God. Why? Because they come to serve mortals and the realms of the local universe, right?
And what do they do?
They run things in the systems and the planets. Okay, so Caligastia was one of these sons before he rebelled. Okay, so these are the type of sons that are assigned to planets as system sovereigns or planetary princes. Okay.
Okay, so they was basically the equivalent of Satan or whatever. Okay.
Right. Yeah, they were. Satan was a Lanonondex son. That's
Okay,
right.
so
Yeah.
And Jesus or David Nebadon. Nebadon, I'm getting so confused. Nebadon is what? Is the universe?
Is our local universe.
Okay,
Notice up here
Nebadon
it
is our
says,
local universe.
that's our local
And-
universe, right? It says
and,
Michael of Nebadon. That's our system sovereign. That's Jesus.
And
Okay.
Atlanta, I'm a speech spastic, so forgive me. Atlanta on deck, they serve this universe.
Right. The local universe. That's correct.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
Nebadon. Okay.
And they always do that, Gary. They will always do that unless for some reason in the future they have done all their work perfectly for billions and billions of years. And Michael decides to release them from the local universe to go on the ascension plan. And to do that, they have to do what? They have to be given thought adjusters. They don't have thought adjusters as these Lanadonda sons. So they have to have a father fragment to do the ascension plan. Okay, so if they want to do the ascension plan, they got to go all the way back to the first mansion world and go through the same process that we do. Okay, even though they have been in charge of all these planets and all these worlds for so many worlds. That's the way it works, dear.
So they got to get demoted to be promoted.
That's exactly right. That's right. Okay. But they can't rebel. They can't have rebelled. Okay. Rebellion stops that process completely. Okay. So you will never see Lucifer on the pathway of ascension. Okay. Now, the interesting point is this. It says in the Urantia book, all these things that Lucifer rebelled against, he had the possibility of achieving in the future. Okay, so that being the case, that means that every one of these descending sons of God have the possibility of becoming ascending sons of God sometime in the future. You follow me? Just like whom? Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve are descending sons of God, are they not?
Yeah.
They come to a planet. They stay on the planet for hundreds of thousands of years. When the planet reaches light and life, they are released to start the ascension plan.
Man, they have to wait a long time.
They have to wait a long, long time to do that. Now, the nice part about that is this. They speed up their process because they already have all the knowledge of all these things before they start, right? So they go right through the stuff like it's nothing, you know? That's why we have Adam and Eve on the 24 counselors on our system capital, right? Because they started the ascension plan. Okay.
So, hey, Gary, you could say that the secondary Lananodex or the system sovereign or planetary princes, they're the administrative heads of an inhabited world, the rulers.
Yeah. Okay, let's move off number 4. Let's move on to number 5. Okay, let's see, we have Tim, would you take the next one?
Sure.
Number 5.
Master Spirit number 5. This divine personality who exquisitely blends the character of the Universal Father and the Infinite Spirit is the advisor of that enormous group of beings known as the power directors, power centers, and physical controllers. This spirit also fosters all personalities taking origin in the Father and the conjoint actor. In the councils of the 7 master spirits, when the Father Spirit attitude is questioned, it is always Master Spirit number 5 who speaks.
Okay, and let's go down past these and you can read the second paragraph and we'll come back up. All right, there we go.
This spirit directs the welfare of the 5th super universe in such a way as to suggest the combined action of the Universal Father and the Infinite Spirit. He is always in liaison with the reflective spirits at the headquarters of the 5th super universe.
Okay, Master Spirit number 5. What's the importance of Master Spirit number 5? other than the fact that he has the characteristics of the universal Father and the conjoint actor, the infinite Spirit. It's number 5 who heads up all the supreme power directors, right? The mechanical physical controllers, and that's what this picture is, right? It's number 5 that is the administrator of all 7 of these for all 7 super universes, right? The power directors, there it is, the first source and centers, okay, the supreme centers of the local universes, right? And see what else. These power centers, okay, I'm not going to go into great detail about these. It'd take me the rest of the night. Well, we're about done tonight anyway. But why is this important? It's the power centers that controls what? Everything physical, okay? The electrons of each and every atom, okay? So everything of finite origin comes through the origin of paradise and these power directors.
Don't they also initiate changes in our Urantia bodies?
They do. They
Mhm.
create the changes to make it Urantia bodies possible. Okay, so the power directors are pretty darn important. Without the power directors, what would happen to the finite universe?
It would
It would-
collapse.
It would collapse. It would disappear, right? So this is pretty important, I'd say, the 5th one, right?
So they could actually, like, if we had cancer, they could
They could change
take
it in
it
a heartbeat.
away.
Yeah,
Huh?
exactly. They could change it in a heartbeat.
You know that if
Okay.
our material sun didn't default, we wouldn't have diseases. You ever think about that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Freddie Mandev did not default.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Adam.
Thank
All
you,
right, we
Reed.
got a lot left to this thing. I'm gonna have to stop on this one because we're right at 7 o'clock right now. I was hoping to at least get through these tonight.
Did you know it's interesting though that the Hebrew number 7 represents perfection?
Mhm, it
Yes.
does. Yeah. All right, so we'll take it up on Master Spirit number 6 next time. Okay. And we'll go from there. Let's have a little prayer and we will stop for this evening. Jane, would you like to pray for us tonight, dear?
Okay. Well, we give you thanks, beloved Father, for giving us this opportunity to learn. We thank you for Dr. Roger, who gives so much of himself. Help us to open our hearts and our minds to always acknowledge the possibility of that there is so much potential in each and every one of us, and at the same time give us the grace to realize our ignorance and our lowliness and our position. So Lord, we pray that we'll always do your will, and we trust in you. Amen.
Amen. And thank you at
Amen.
home for joining us. Please come see us again, dear. Would you stop the recording for me, please?
Well, that was beautiful, Jane. Thank you for those encouraging words.
Thank you.